Hi everyone, I'm Maimah Karmo. I'm your host and you're watching Breathe TV, a safe space to come to exhale and to breathe and get support and love throughout your breast cancer journey. We're talking today about the importance of being aware of your bone health and knowing how to ensure you have healthy bones throughout your breast cancer journey. I have with me two amazing advocates, both living with stage 4 breast cancer, but both warriors and thriving throughout their breast cancer journey. Maggie and Terlisa, who I just adore to the moon and back. I also have my favorite trainer and one of my best friends, Derek Burns, who's also my coach, who tortures me, but I love it and I go back because he helps keep my bones healthy. He inspires me and keeps my soul and my spirit uplifted. And so I hope you'll be as inspired by Terlisa and Maggie and Derek as I am. So before we start Breathe, I always want to ground people in the energy. And we're going to breathe for a few minutes to get ourselves in a space to be able to share authentically and with love. And we're going to breathe 4 times and just take your time and be as you are. Thank you. You both are living with metastatic breast cancer, and I'm sure that breathing is really a big part of your journey, right? There's so many things you face on a regular basis. So I'll start with your Lisa, who is, I believe, 20 plus years living with MBC. You're such an amazing warrior. Can we just give her a hand? Yeah, yeah. I'm so proud of you. Can you share your journey when you were diagnosed, what stage you're diagnosed at, and who Terlisa is?
I was first diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer, and I was 31 years old and 8.5 months pregnant with my youngest daughter. So I was going on about life, didn't have a clue that it would be breast cancer from my diagnosis. I was actually at work that evening and told my coworkers that I'll be back. I'm just going in for this appointment. Well, I didn't make it back to work. I was diagnosed at that moment alone. I had to drive home by myself after the diagnosis, and I was in complete shock. At a time, young in my mind at 31 and pregnant with my daughter, that was on my mind. That was my complete focus.
You were pregnant at diagnosis?
Yes, I was in complete shock, to be honest with you. I remember driving home, and I do not even know how I got from the cancer center to my house. I had to get it together. Even though going through all of that in my mind, I knew, because they told me at that moment that you more than likely will have to deliver your baby early than planned. I had to go in somewhat of a beast mode and start thinking about delivering a healthy unborn child that I was carrying.
Wow. How long before you were diagnosed with meds? And what was that process like?
Well, that process was very quickly after my original diagnosis. Actually, just 2 years later, in the exact same month, I was diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer. I was 34 years old at that point, and when I got that diagnosis, of course, I wasn't expecting it. I had gone back to work, had, started everything back from the start before my early stage diagnosis. And not only that I got a metastatic diagnosis, I was told that I would not make it through that diagnosis. At that point, the cancer had spread to my bones, lungs, and liver. And my oncologist at the time literally told me to go home, quit work, and get your life in order. What, 34? Really? Babies? I couldn't even imagine that was the diagnosis that I was given at that moment. I was in shock, but with my family there supporting me, I just had the mindset, okay, whatever it is, it is. I still have to raise these daughters, my babies. I have to just live in the moment, get through day by day.
And with your faith, you're always talking about your faith, which I so love. You're so beautiful about how you love God and how your faith has brought you here, and you're still here 20 plus years later, living your best life.
20 plus years later.
Amen. Amen. Yes. I'm just so happy for your life. Amazing, right? It's so amazing. We have Maggie. She has a stage now. I love this young woman. You are known across the world as the Bald Ballerina. You got diagnosed and shaved your head and began just dancing through your diagnosis. Can you share with the viewers what your experience was and what made you inspired to become the Bald Ballerina?
Yes, so my whole life has been ballet and dancing and performing and just being in the arts. I was up in New York and living basically every dancer's dream of dancing in New York City and traveling and living that life of professional dancer. And I was 22, 23, and I felt a lump in my armpit, and I didn't think much of it. I just thought, it's just fatty tissue. I had gotten a breast reduction when I was 18, so I thought it might have been scar tissue. So I ignored it. And then a month later, I was in rehearsal and I was doing a lift and I felt a pop in my sternum and I thought I pulled a muscle. I didn't really think anything else of it. I just thought I pulled a muscle or twinged a tendon or did something and continued dancing, ignored it, thought it would go away, as most 20-year-olds would think. And then in June of 2014, I was diagnosed at 23 with metastatic breast cancer. And at that point, it was just in my bones. And my first thought was, I'm going to walk and my legs are just going to break and I won't be able to dance or anything. Because I really had no idea what metastatic breast cancer was. I had no information. I just thought it was pink in October and everyone's happy. And that wasn't the case. My doctor, of course, when I found out I was metastatic and it was in my bones, I asked my doctor, like, am I able to dance still? And he said, yes, continue dancing. It's good for you. Like, just keep moving. Don't just stop moving because you have cancer in your bones. We can heal them. We can treat them so that they stay strong. You can do as much as you can by dancing and moving. And that's what I did. I haven't stopped moving and doing all that since. And I'm almost 8 years. 8 years will be in June.
What a blessing, right? What a blessing. The doctors would tell you that the average patient who's metastatic has 18 months to 3 years to live. In your 8 years, and Terlisa's 20 plus years and counting. I mean, that's a beautiful thing. So beautiful. I want to go to Derek next. Derek, you've been touched by cancer in your life, in your family. So I want you to share your life and your journey and who you are and how you bring your faith into your practice to help women and cancer patients be empowered through the Pure Cap program as well.
First, I would like to give it up for these beautiful, courageous. There's no word to describe these women who go through metastatic breast cancer, but I just want to give it up to you all. Of course, I have never been through it. But like Maimah said, I've been affected with family and friends. My grandmother was a oncology nurse. She's a retired oncology nurse, and I married an oncology nurse. And she loves what she does, and so she educates me. So, meeting Maimah, she kind of imposed her will on my profession, but she empowered me a lot more to do what I do and to do it with a greater purpose. Being in this forum and being able to work with women who I consider much stronger than I am, even though I can lift a lot of weight and, I can do a lot of reps. But when it comes to life, this is life. You never know how strong you are until that's the only thing you have to be is strong. And so being a personal trainer / coach / nutrition coach, it's brought a lot more meaning to what I do.
One thing that Derek, you helped me with too, because although I'm not metastatic, I had chemotherapy. And so my bones, sometimes when your bones are hurting, everything hurts. A cough hurts, just bending over, twisting, turning, silly things. Can you share, Maggie, being a dancer? Will you ever talk to you about bone health at a young age?
I was never really told what could happen. I was basically just told we have to treat it. Here's the drug you take. and keep moving. The more you move, the better, because it helps keep that blood flowing, the energy flowing. Like, it's just good for you. Of course, every time I would have a progression of more disease in my bones, I would get scared. I would be like, is this the point where I won't be able to do it because the pain will be so intense? And luckily I haven't gotten there, knock on wood. I know in a few years I'll probably have to start getting bone density tests just to see how my bones are doing. It adds a whole nother level to treatment. The bone health is like a whole separate entity of cancer treatment. And whether you're metastatic or not, you need to be aware of your bone health and what could happen, because I know a few years down the road, if you're early stage, you could have bone health issues even though you're not metastatic. It's something that I think oncologists and people don't talk about because it's not the most important. Your bones are what hold you up, basically. They're your foundation. So I think it's important to be proactive with your bone health and get on top of it. Movement helped my bones heal and get stronger because I'm allowing my body to move. Don't just get sedentary and sit and lay down. You can some days, I do it some days, but for the majority of my week and my days, I try to move, I try to stretch, I just try to do something to keep my body moving. The more I'm stationary, the more pain I'm in.
Yeah. Thanks, Maggie, for sharing. Terlisa, 20 years metastatic. How do you keep your bones healthy and your body healthy?
First of all, Maggie, that's so true. I have gone through a lot of those days and still going through it. Being metastatic for so many years, you can only imagine the amount of treatments that I've had. You know, I've done the bone density. I will continue to do the bone density studies. I was on a bone strengthener to help me throughout my treatments. And I would tell people, I wake up in some type of bone pain and I go to bed in some type of bone pain. It hurts, every day. But I've learned the key to just trying to treat it myself and help me through it. As Maggie said, to keep moving. I didn't have a problem because I had two small kids. So that was a lot of my movement. But even now, I walk every day. I try to get those 10,000 steps in. I'm working in my garden. I'm out walking at Disney. I'm doing different things. And I'm not a professional dancer like Maggie, but I do try to dance a little bit, if you want to call it that. But I'm moving, and it has helped me so much throughout my diagnosis.
What I've seen with you and Maggie, and just knowing you guys, is your energy is so high vibration in your mindset. You're advocating, helping other people survive and thrive during breast cancer and metastatic breast cancer. And I think, one of the things Derek tells me a lot, he says results drive motivation. So Derek, how important is movement? And talk about the importance of mindset as you go through any kind of challenge in life, particularly MBC diagnosis.
Well, first of all, the body was made to move. If you look at every joint in the body, it's mobile. So our bodies are literally made to move. They're not made to be sedentary. They're not made to sit down all day. And when they do, the body is an adaptive organ. It will adapt to anything you put it through. So if you sit down, your hip flexors are going to tighten up, your glutes are going to get weak, your back is going to hurt, your core is going to get weak. So you're going to have all those negative side effects. Move, go do something, walk around the block, do some squats, air squats, clean up the house. Whatever the movement may be, just do it. Exercise is very important because it strengthens the bones. And so we need to have some type of resistance training to really strengthen our bones. Everybody has to start somewhere. And so wherever that start is, that's why I try to meet them. I don't try to push people to do things that are more advanced. We all have to start somewhere at one time. And so what I try to do is meet everybody where they are. We might have a whole month of mobility, not even touching the weight. I want to strengthen your weaknesses. My job is to fix you. And so that's what I do. I don't treat symptoms. I try to fix problems. If that's maybe walking an extra mile or extra couple of steps a day or picking up 2.5 more pounds than you did last week. My job is to speak life into you and help you believe that you can do something. So the littlest result will get you a lot of motivation. Motivation never comes before the results. The results always come before motivation.
I love that. Thank you, Derek. So Maggie, what keeps you moving forward? Because you were planning your life and then something happened to you that could have arrested your life and made it stop, but it propelled you into doing things you never thought you'd be doing that are even bigger than your dreams. Can you share a bit about that?
Like Derek said earlier, you never know how strong you are till you're given something that tests you. If you met me pre-diagnosis, I was shy. I hated public speaking, but I don't want to look back at my life and say, why didn't I say yes to that? Because yes, I might have failed. I might have failed terribly at whatever I tried to do, but I wouldn't know until I tried it. I'm proud of who I've become because I would never be able to do something like this or speak on Capitol Hill or do any of the stuff that I've been given opportunities to do if I let my diagnosis make me scared and shy. Cancer is only a little part of my life. I can make the most of my life. And honestly, when I met Terlisa a few years ago at another breast cancer event, I was so inspired because she had lived probably 15 years at that point. And I was like, I want to be like Terlisa. I want to have those huge milestones and I want to do it. So like meeting people like Terlisa, and there's a few others in the metastatic community who have lived 20 plus years, that inspires me and motivates me to keep going. But I also know it's okay to take a day or a week or a month or something just to relax, stay in bed, not do anything, not do anything. It's okay. But everyone does that. Everyone needs some time for just themselves and to relax and not care. So I am driven to live those 20 plus years like Terlisa, and I hope she's there with me when I hit those 20 years. And I just want to keep saying yes to things. I think we're so scared to try things that we're scared to say yes, and you don't learn that until you're older. And I wasn't lucky to be diagnosed in my 20s, but I was kind of, because I found my voice, I found my strength, I found who I am. My diagnosis pulled a lot out of me, and I'm grateful for it, but I'm also not grateful for it because I'm now fighting for my life every day.
You know, I just want people watching, like you don't want to wait till you get cancer to live your life. You have to embrace living your life right now. We have only one life. This moment is all that matters. And you see these women with incredible odds that were stacked against them, and they're not just surviving, but they're thriving with metastatic breast cancer and even bone pain. Terlisa, what have you been doing to be able to not just stay healthy, but have that smile on your face and have the hope that and faith that you live with every day?
I really find myself doing some things that before my cancer diagnosis, I probably wouldn't have tried them. But say, hey, go for it, at least try it. In one case in particular, I'm going on vacation this summer, and my friend said, well, we're going hiking. You need hiking boots and hiking sticks. So I went and purchased the hiking boots, and I told my daughters about it. Just last year, I had a craniotomy. My stability was so off. I mean, I couldn't walk on a flat surface. And that was the first thing that my daughter said. You got to be kidding me, right? You're going hiking and you can barely walk on a flat surface. I was like, sure I am. They'll pick me up if I fall down. So, hey, I'm going to try it. And I love trying new things and pushing myself a little bit more to see if I can achieve different things. And I'm about living in the moment, living life, the life that I have now.
Beautiful. Derek talks a lot about that. He says a lot to me, like, do what you can do right now. For those who don't understand that, Derek, can you share a few tips on importance of weight-bearing exercises, the importance of stretching?
Yes, Maggie said it earlier. The bones are the scaffolding, right? They're the framework for your body. They hold you up. So I think we need to prioritize some things that we don't do. We focus more on what we put on the body to make it look good instead of what we put inside the body to make it operate at an optimal level and feel good, right? So I'm gonna give you some practical tips. One thing, we have to focus on our nutrition. I think we've gotten away from that. Calcium is what keeps the bone strong, right? Calcium is what keeps the bone strong. And vitamin D is what helps the bones absorb calcium. And so those two minerals, or vitamin D and calcium, they work in tandem. So you have to make sure that your vitamin D is up and you have to eat a calcium-rich diet or take calcium supplements. I know in Northern Virginia, they say about 75 to 80 people are vitamin D deficient. So that's putting the whole population into having weaker bones, and we're talking about women. Women are more susceptible to osteoporosis. And so for women, it's very important that you keep your bone health up. Now, the next thing is exercise. We have to put weight on our joints to help them strengthen themselves, to be strong, right? Maggie is a dancer, so she spent her whole life doing all that type of weight bearing on your toes, jumping around. So her bones have adapted to what she does. And so that's why she has healthy bones. So I think, Maimah, we need to get back to prioritizing calcium-rich diets, vitamin D, and exercise. So whether you're riding a bike, whether you're walking, whether you're lifting weights, do something. Don't just stay still. Do something.
Wonderful. My body's changed so much since I met you. You've taught me about the importance of balance, hydration, movement. So how do you, as a man, help a woman who has metastatic breast cancer and who's going through this time as a loved one, a caregiver, a husband, a friend?
This is an untapped issue, I think, that we need to really, pay equal attention to. Every woman with metastatic breast cancer has a nurse, has an advocate that they get information from when they first are diagnosed. That man needs to be right there with them, learning about it, communicating, because from woman to woman, the needs may be different, right? And so what we need to do is communicate more and educate that man more and make sure he has the support. There's many support groups that you can belong to, and he needs to be plugged into one of them support groups, because while he's trying to support his wife, who's supporting him? Me and my wife always say this: when I speak into you or when I support you, I need to support you from a full reservoir, not a reservoir that's halfway or half empty. Why? Because I'm going to pour so much into you that I'm going to be empty, right? And so in order to give his wife or his significant other what she needs, he needs a support group also. Think about it. He has to get used to the new norm, just like she has to get used to the new norm. She has low self-esteem and her hair is falling out and things like that are changing. So he's watching his significant other go through this stuff, and men are fixers, and he can't fix that problem for her. So that puts him in another state of depression, which is going to eventually affect her and affect everything around. So I think the support system, the communication, the support system, and knowing what she needs. One woman may need a ride back and forth to her medical facility. Another woman may need for the house to be clean, right? And so you got to plug into all these different resources that can actually help the family get that done. Not only does the woman need help, but the man needs help so he can better help his mate. That's why a good oncology nurse is worth their weight in gold. She should know how to plug him in immediately to all those support groups so they don't miss a beat. So I think it's the communication has to be there. You have to communicate. You got to plug him into that nurse so that he can get all the information that he needs. We don't have enough support for the man. And I'm not saying that he is more important than the woman, because of course she's the one that's going through that, right? But in order to keep her going, in order to keep the house together, there's other supports that he's going to need. And so we need to communicate to get that support to those families.
That's so powerful, because there's whole organizations now focusing on caregiving and how caregivers carry a lot. They get depressed, they get scared, they have anxiety. So giving the caregiver that strength and that filling his cup is so important to him, supporting, women like you and filling your cup. So Maggie, you were diagnosed so young. What would you say to a woman who's, in her 20s about the importance of taking care of her bone health? Because I was told that, because I worked out, because I did running, exercising, and weights, my body could handle treatment better than someone who wasn't as healthy. Can you share a bit about what someone should know about bone health to be able to live healthier and longer and deal with any kind of illness?
I would tell that woman to do as much as you can organically. Walk, move, do something to get your body moving. Eat healthy, try not to eat processed foods. You need to fuel your body with healthy things, like Derek was saying. Nutrition is so important. And if you have a good balanced diet from the get-go, your bones, your whole body will be healthier. So take control, do the nutrition, do your research. Your own research and being your own advocate is the best for you. You won't know unless you research it.
Beautiful. Terlisa, can you share one word that's driven you to be who you are and to be able to thrive living with MBC?
Happy, in spite of all that I've gone through. I mean, one diagnosis after the other. I've been diagnosed 4 different times. I've had to have a craniotomy. I've had a hip replacement, many fractures because of continuous treatments throughout the years. But through it all, I try to remain happy and content, being grateful, being thankful that I am still here in this moment. So that really has helped me to get from moment to moment.
You have so much grace and to share with the world. Maggie, what is your one word?
Probably with Terlisa, positive. I try to find the silver lining in every situation. Yes, I do have those negative days where I just cry and snuggle with my dogs, and that's it. That's okay. But I'm still living my life to the fullest and to the best I can and staying positive. I know not everyone in our community likes people who are overly positive, but I think positivity is a medicine. And my grandparents used to have a sign that laughter is the best medicine. And that's what I live by. I try to laugh as much as I can. I watch comedies all the time. I just love being happy and smiling, and it helps your spirit and your mind and everything if you can stay positive. It's hard, but you can, and it's okay to embrace the negative, but positivity is right around the corner for you, and it helps you thrive.
So beautiful. Derek, what is your one word?
Live your life. You may have cancer, but don't let cancer have you. You may have it, but don't let it have you. And do things that you have never done before. Go places that you have never gone before. And then find somebody else to pour yourself into. Because there's something about pouring yourself into somebody else that makes your issue seem a little less minute. So live your life and do things, check off the bucket list things, enjoy your life, and find someone to help. Find someone to service, and find someone to minister to. I think all of you, God has taken your pain and turned it into your purpose. I think He's took your misery and turned it into your ministry. And I think you're living on purpose. You're living with intent. You're doing with intention. And so to Terlisa and Maggie and Maimah, I salute you.
Beautiful. So to all our viewers, there you have it. Thank you so much for watching. I know that you are as inspired by Terlisa, by Maggie and Derek as I am. And really it's important to love the moment. And what that means is not something that's really esoteric. It's really about, if you love the moment, you love yourself, you love your body, you take care of yourself. You take care of yourself, mind, body, and soul from head to toe. And for this episode, you have to love your bones because they're the scaffolding of your body. And we want you to take care of yourself so you're living for a longer time, being healthier and happier, having a better quality of life. Until next time, be blessed and be loved. Take care of you. Love your bones, and much, much love. Bye for now.